Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Everyone has their fears, but we are not afraid of subtitles, disclaimers for adult language, and spoilers. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. It's going okay. December's maybe my least favorite month of the year. No, maybe that's January. But so second least favorite month. And I was sick this past week. And I don't know. My heart rate has been higher than normal. My body's not enjoying December. But I am very happy to be talking with you today. So I feel like my day, my day today is good. There's nothing to complain about. It's just, one of those months. Yeah.
Yeah, I think December is really hard. I think for me, it's November and December that are the roughest. Just this whole slog from holiday to holiday to holiday is just really kind of rough. And I put up a tree. I've been trying to be more in the spirit. My tree does cheer me up. I have spent a lot of money.
Same.
So it's kind of fun.
It's not good.
It's kind of fun when you're doing it, but then later it's not.
Yeah, you're like, woo, okay, yeah, purchase now. And then when you go to the credit card bill, you're like, that was me. What do they say in the substance? Like, do better or something like that. I had a few moments like that where I'm like, who did this?
Yeah.
Who's responsible for this? Oh, right. We are one. Okay.
Yeah. So December we're actually recording on the winter solstice. It is the shortest day of the year. So things will start to turn around after today.
Yes. This is rock bottom. You can only go up.
That's right. It's a lovely way of looking at it. Sometimes I wish I were pagan, because then I would have rituals, around every solstice, and I'd be able to usher in the season with my pagan-y ways, but I'm not a pagan, so I don't really know. So pagan WoHos, get in touch.
I feel like I'm the worst of every world because not Christian. So it's I don't have Jesus to look forward to, but then I'm still celebrating Christmas. So I'm stressed out. And then I'm not a child anymore. So I don't even have the whimsy of Christmas either. And then there's no children in my life, really. So I can't project onto them and live vicariously through them. I feel like celebrating Christmas when you're with no child and family, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this age, I don't know. Maybe it's the least fun Christmas people could ever have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, at least you're not single. I think that would be the most depressing Christmas you could have. But I agree about the kid part. Without a little kid in your life, it's just sort of what are we even doing?
What's the point? Because nobody needs more stuff. Every time I kind of think about getting stuff for people, I'm like, am I just doing this just to get it? And then just I'm paying for something to eventually go into a landfill. So I've been trying to just get really good stuff, and then I just get stressed out. And me and Alan had a little moment in the car where we both were like, how many gifts did you get me and how much money? Because we're both worried that the other person's going to be disappointed in which we're obviously it's going to be fine, but I'm just
it's good to have a policy, though. That's one nice thing about being in a couple, is you can sort of set your own rules for things like this. Don't go above this dollar amount or whatever. Just buy me things that are experiences instead of things.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Or things we can both enjoy. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've been having a really hard time with my guy. He's got everything he needs. And so it's really hard to, and also he didn't give me any ideas. So,
and they never do. You're just, like, what do you need? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, and I don't, so I don't know. I have a couple of little things, and that might just have to be it, because I don't know.
We should go. That's what I think we should do next year. Let's all just decide to get each other one gift. And that one gift does not have to be expensive. It could be like a nice mug. And then if nobody's expecting more than that, great. And what more do we need? I think it would cut down on wrapping paper. We could just have our one gift and be like, thanks. And then move on.
Yeah. And it's not really about the stuff. It's about, spending time with family and loved ones and that kind of thing. Sort of the spirit of the season.
Yeah.
I think people in the olden times did that. Like every child got like one gift, and maybe certain families do that. But, we come from people who sort of go overboard.
Yeah.
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 It's hard to get out of that. And I know that I did some of my shopping when I was bored, which is not the best state of mind to be in. So I have some things to look at in the new year.
Same.
Or today. It doesn't have to be the new year.
Every day.
Every day. Yep, we're coming up on a new year. Now, every new year to me sounds like science fiction. 2026.
I know, and I'm turning 30.
Yes.
Like, it's not even that I'm like, oh, 30, that's so old. It's just more like I thought about numbers a lot as a kid. And so it's just so trippy to be like 2026 as a child was like, well, that will be forever from now. And I'm like, it's today. It's soon.
I always round up with everybody's age. And so you've been 30 for a while. So.
Well, I kind of do the opposite with you. I feel like after 40, you've just always been 40 in my head.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
Is that nice to hear?
Yeah. I know, because as I'm closing in on 60, it's kind of nice
you're 40.
too. I'm 40. Yeah. I liked my 40s. I thought they were pretty fun.
Yeah. Do you hear my cat?
Uh-huh.
He's not coming in, so he's just screaming at nothing. That...
Really? I am?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I've got a fun story for you.
Okay.
I love this. So there had been like this really cute cat in the neighborhood who had been meowing, like so cute, like white with orange splotches. And Alan had been so like, this cat he needs help. And I was like, well, first off, buddy, he's not coming in here because I do eventually want a third cat, but not at this apartment. It's already kind of cramped now. And I'm like, that will be a nice thing to have when we have like a house eventually. And then also if you could pull a cat off the street, it's like you got to quarantine it. We got no place to do that. So I was like, you can help find it a home. And so then one night he was literally just right on our doorstep looking through the window. Both the cats are like, who's this guy? And he's meowing, and we gave him food, and he was really friendly. We were petting him, and we actually got him in a carrier. And so Alan took him. He had no microchip. I had to say again, you can find him a home, but this is not the one. And then the next day we couldn't find him because he just slept all night on our doorstep, which would like broke my heart. I was like, because he kind of kept looking in like, are you guys sure I can't come in? And Alan had gotten him like this bin with pine straw and stuff.
Aww.
And so he wasn't there. But then Alan called around and the SPCA was like, oh yeah, that cat, we picked him up. And then we checked yesterday and he already got adopted.
Oh, so, good.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
That's a happy story.
The SPCA named him Brian, which is just like, that's not a name for a cat. I'm sorry. Brian? He did not look like a Brian, I'll tell you that much.
My friend has a dog, and I can't remember if the dog's name is Steve or Mike, but
either way, that's not a name.
It's pretty funny. But how do you feel about people naming animals after foods?
I was just about to say I hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It feels disrespectful to the animal.
Yeah.
It's not a real, like, if you call your cat pot roast, like, like, okay, pancake, that stuff like that's a maybe. But when it's like just such a joke name, this is a real creature you're taking care of. And I guess you could say I named my cats joke names, like they're anime character names, but like I love, like Monkey D. Luffy is a beloved character. So, and that's a beloved cat. But yeah, if you name your cat like Cabbage, that's kind of cute.
That's kind of cute.
What do you think about?
I don't like it so much. Yeah. I feel like it's just kind of a weird conceit.
Yeah, and like you call your cat that every day?
Yeah.
Come here, grilled cheese.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Get out of here. Rosie's a great name.
Oh, thank you so much.
Like,
I think it fits her.
Yes. She's like an iconic. I think of Rosie the Riveter. I think Rosie is a riveting cat. So.
Oh, she can do it. Yeah.
I haven't heard her yet, but maybe.
I think that will probably happen at some point today. Well, you know who was really riveted on the concept of healing her skin deformities?
Who?
Way from Grafted.
What?
So I don't know what we would call these films, WoHos, but
body transformation,
body horror, yeah,
female body horror.
Female body horror. Okay, I think that works. So our first film is called Grafted. The short plot summary from IMDb says, a bright but socially awkward exchange student takes her craving for popularity to horrifying heights. Directed by Sasha Rainbow, written by Mia Maramara, Huiling Au, Lee Murray, and Sasha Rainbow, starring Joyina Sun, Jess Hong, Eden Hart, Jared Turner, and Seppi Toa. Music by Lachlan Anderson. The release dates were the 9th of August 2024 at New Zealand NZ and the 12th of September 2024 in New Zealand. This has a running time of 95 minutes. How did you feel about this runtime, Mac?
World's better than the substance, I'll say that much.
Oh. Spoiler alert for Mac's opinion on the substance. Well, I thought this had a great opening shot. We open in Wei's home country. Do we know what that is?
China?
Okay. But she's in one of those apartments that's like I don't know what they're called, but they're all jammed together, and they're these little tiny apartments that are all jammed together. Her father is a scientist. He and the daughter have disfigurements on their faces. The daughter is drawing a picture of a corpse flower, which she saw in her father's notebook. The father is trying to create a skin graft, but it goes horribly awry, sealing up his mouth and then his eyes, and then he dies.
Oh, the scene where it's like he keeps cutting open a hole for his mouth and then she's doing it to him. It's so gross.
Pretty nasty.
I don't want to I know that any sort of facial scarring or disfigurement must be very traumatizing for anybody involved. And I'm not trying to say that if you have what these people have, that you wouldn't have a hard life. However, I feel like this movie is making me do a lot of heavy lifting by showing me some very attractive people and being like, they're disgusting, aren't they? And again, I'm sure that is a really hard thing to go through. But like they call her monster. Like I guess kids are just really big bullies, but I don't know. It's like, am I wrong? Like I just kind of wish there was something else, that there was maybe more.
Right.
I guess that would have been too much prosthetic, but like it seemed like also kind of like a maybe easy thing to cover up.
Yeah, it didn't really seem that bad to me either.
Yeah.
But obviously, these characters felt differently. Years later, Wei receives a scholarship to attend university in New Zealand. She has an aunt who lives there who owns a cosmetic business. She moves in with the aunt and cousin Angie. But the cousin is unhappy and wants to move in with her dad. We meet a disfigured, unhoused man who's named John, and he helps Wei find her way on the first day of university. Her biochemistry prof seems to have something going on with a pretty blonde student named Eve. Angela and her friends make fun of Wei's altar to her father and the pics she has hanging up in her bedroom of bugs and body parts. Wei interrupts a girls' night, and the girls bail on her.
I kind of wish they had done more stuff with Angie and like her being like a part of like a, you know, diaspora of like not being super connected to her Chinese heritage, whereas Wei knows, you know, Chinese and obviously is still very connected to that part of herself. I felt like that was a little bit of a missed opportunity because Angie's very like dressing really trendy, doesn't know Chinese, you know, thinks like, you know, hides from her friends that she likes, you know, certain Chinese foods and whatnot. And her mom is very much like, why don't you know, Chinese? Like, Wei's Chinese is better than yours. I just wish they had, like, I feel like that would have been a really interesting thing to explore.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Yeah, all we really get is the aunt just sort of criticizing Angie for not being more Chinese. The biochem prof finds that he is losing his research funding. Wei invites Angie and her friends out to food, and the girls go, but they abandon her again. Wei befriends the unhoused guy. The biochem prof gives her a ride home and says the two of them can create something transformational.
I hate this guy.
He is really slimy and, you know, obviously very ambitious. There's like one shot of a newspaper article on him, and he was like this genius when he was 17. So he had created something then, and he's looking for the next big thing. After Angie catches Wei spying on her making out with her boyfriend, Angie says she doesn't want to see or hear Wei. The biochem prof wants to work with Wei to create the artificial skin, but he says she is making him look bad with each failed experiment. Now, some of the names I wasn't sure because my subtitles did both names. So first I thought this person's name was Jess, but then later it was written Jazz. So I think that's like a New Zealand thing. Likewise, the dog I thought was named Becky, but the neighbor calls it Bicky.
Bicky, yeah.
And so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, maybe whoever did the subtitles did not know what Kiwi accents were, and they were like, Bicky, okay, yeah, I guess it's Bickie.
Yes, right. That's exactly what I think happened. Jazz, one of Angie's friends, signs up to be a lab assistant and tries to befriend Wei. Wei finds a flyer for a showing of the corpse flower. She goes to check it out and harvest samples for experiments. She slices some skin off her inner thigh and seals it up with the goo from the corpse plant.
This whole thread of the corpse flower being significant, I feel like was two ideas that they just didn't really know how to like merge in this movie, because we see the corpse flower in the beginning And, it's pointed out like, oh, it emits like a fetid smell so that flies will pollinate it, which I have seen one in person. Yes, it does. And is very cool. But it's like, what is the symbolic connection of like the corpse flower? Like, why would that work? Like, because they don't even really get into the fact that it like only blooms like every 10 years or something. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the director thought they were cool and was like, yeah, sure, that's the missing link. But like, why though?
Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't explained. That could have been easily explained in the first scene with the father. But it's not. We just have to go with it. Eve gets a compromising pic of Wei and the biochem prof. Eve takes Wei out of the lab for a girls-only night. She sends the pic to Angie, and Angie says she'll handle her. Eve abandons Wei in the forest after telling her students don't date their profs.
Which is, it's just, the movies like this where it's so cynical, like everybody's a bad person, kind of. Not the aunt. Like, I think the aunt seemed like just kind of absent, but she seemed pretty nice. And the neighbor seemed like a nice lady, and the homeless guy was nice, but like all of Angie's friends plus Angie plus the professor are just like evil with no redeeming qualities.
Yeah, the only one who's sort of good is Jazz, I think.
And even then it like doesn't make any sense, kind of. It's just kind of like, here's the nice one.
Yeah, that's true. When she gets home, Angie is crying. She has destroyed Wei's altar. Wei says Angie has disrespected the elders, and now the elders will curse them. They get into a fight, and Wei stabs Angie with a chopstick to the eye, killing her. Wei drags Angie's body into the tub. She says she can bring Angie back. She has the vial with the corpse flower goo. But then she thinks about herself, and she cuts off Angie's face and grafts it to her own, and it works. Wei sticks Angie's body under the bed.
Like, how absent is this? Like, is Angie's mom? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This plan is so yeah. Continue.
Well, from here on out, I mean, if things were unbelievable before, they really are. And there's one part with Eve. Well, there are a couple of things with Eve that we'll get to that if I was taking notes, okay, but I didn't understand how these things worked. But so maybe you can tell me. So Eve is with Paul trying to distract him, but he wants to work and tells her to play to her strengths, which don't include intelligence.
Like, and you like this guy? Like,
and she stays, yeah. Wei goes to school as Angie. Now, I thought this was really good. The actress who plays Angie imitated Wei so well. I was just so super impressed with her.
Same. And I love the detail that, like, I guess I don't know if it's originally part of Wei's actress's face or if this was another thing that they added, but like she kind of had like a crooked front tooth and then they gave that to Angie's actress. And I thought that was really good. I like that. Every part with Angie, like Wei as Angie, amazing.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And that kind of made me excited because you know where this is going. And so I thought it was going to be this really great opportunity for these actors to pretend to be, you know, the other actor's character. And it works here with Angie. But Wei finds out that Angie is an athlete, so she slams her fingers in a locker. Wei goes out with Angie's boyfriend while Angie's body is wrapped in plastic propped up on a chair.
And here's another place where, like, so now here's Wei, who has just recently, you know, moved to New Zealand after living in China her whole life, now kind of cosplaying as Angie, somebody who has kind of really tried to distance herself from her heritage. And I feel like this would have been another interesting thing to explore with Wei, perhaps now feeling self-conscious about where she comes from in New Zealand, which I'm sure it's tough to be an immigrant there as it is anywhere. And yet I feel like this is never truly explored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. Wei is making out with Angie's boyfriend and Angie's face falls off. The boyfriend, and I don't know his name, so that's why I'm calling him the boyfriend, he's so scared that he backs off the edge of a hill and he dies. Paul has Wei's notebook. He researches Wei's dad and goes to see the corpse flower. It is no longer blooming, but Paul takes samples. He says the notebook disappeared, but as the lead scientist, this is now his work, not her father's. Wei creeps up on Eve, who gives her a ride home. Wei has her sights set on Eve. Eve wants to go home, but Wei has something to show her. Wei attacks Eve, but Eve makes it outside. Okay, I didn't know what this was in the backyard. It's not a pool. I looked it up on I said, what is a small pool in a garden called? And there's something called a plunge pool. I don't know the purpose of it. Maybe you have fish in there, or maybe you have lotuses or something in there. I mean, I really don't understand the purpose of it. But Eve submerges herself in a plunge pool while Wei waits for her. So Wei is sort of outside the pool, waiting until Eve runs out of air and comes back up. And Wei has a drill pointed at her head. Wei pulls Eve's ponytail and drills through the top of her head. This was pretty nasty. Okay, but here's where we get to, how is this? Wei puts Eve in the bathtub. How did she do that?
Yeah, this, like, a body is pretty heavy. And also, the neighbors already come by like once or twice to be like, hey, can you shut your dog up? And it's like, you don't hear this girl screaming and like getting drilled through the head. Like, if you can hear the chihuahua,
yes,
you don't hear this. Okay.
Angie's face is peeling off, so Wei tugs at it and answers the front door as Angie. This is pretty cool because she just allows the part of her face that is Angie to be seen by the neighbor. Mm-hmm. Like you said, the neighbor is complaining about the barking dog Becky. Or Bicky.
Bicky.
Wei transforms into Eve. Now, how does this happen? She has blonde hair and all.
Like, let me tell y'all, I have dark brown hair, and getting my hair that platinum took a professional and more than one seat in the chair. Dark black, like inky black, beautiful, straight hair. It would look brassy as hell with her box dye. Like, Wei doesn't know how to tone. And is she the same size as Eve? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
How's she fitting in them dresses? I was like, you're losing me. You're losing me, movie. Yeah.
At the bus stop, John sits next to Wei/Eve. That was kind of a cool shot because they're just sort of separated by this divider. So obviously, if he knew it was Wei, he would be talking to her, and she can't talk to him because Eve would never do that. So I thought that was a nice bit of storytelling. At school, Jazz wants to talk to the police, but Wei says she shouldn't be in everyone's business. Wei/Eve goes to Paul's house, and he has sex with her. Cut to, she is scrubbing her skin in the bathtub. And I would have liked to know more about that. Like, clearly, she didn't like it, but, you know, was she a virgin? Like, what's going on? Wei leaves Eve's body outside by the pool thing in plastic. Right where there. The neighbor could, I mean, anytime the neighbor comes by.
Who is the gardener, by the way?
Right, exactly. So that's three things I don't understand about the Eve section. The neighbor comes by again to complain about the dog barking. We see the dog chewing on a severed arm.
That the neighbor doesn't.
Okay. No. Wei gets Paul fired. We see Paul working on the skin grafts, and in a petri dish, the two pieces of the flesh are joined together. Paul asks Eve to come over. Wei/Eve steals the vial of the corpse flower goo and says she has a headache. She leaves, and he discovers the vial is missing.
Also, more heavy lifting is this girl who English is her second language can perfectly imitate not only not having an accent, but having a Kiwi accent just from a few videos. Like, we do see her practice, sure, but she's a savant because that's pretty tough.
Yeah. And she got away with not talking a whole lot as Angie, which also her friends would have known the difference immediately. But okay. But, you know, Eve, definitely, this is totally out of character.
Yeah.
Wei peels off Eve's face. Jazz comes by and invites Wei to dinner. But she opens the fridge, and so she has to die. And Wei kills her with saran wrap.
Also, it's like she not only sees Wei, she sees Wei. Her face is jacked up. Yes. She's got dyed blonde hair. She's wearing Eve's dress. She's just like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah. She cries over Jazz. Paul goes to Wei's house and confronts Wei and demands she give back the vial. She says it is in the fridge and incapacitates him with a hypodermic needle. When he comes to, she has cut away his neck and upper chest. He is screaming. She injects him with the serum, and gradually his face seals up.
And I did like she put the straw, like, so he could still breathe and be alive. Ooh, that was so gross.
Wei takes the notebook and runs. Cops chase her. She hides with John under his blanket and accidentally breaks the vial. She becomes fused with John.
Poor guy.
The aunt is eating dinner. She walks by John and stops to look at him. She screams. We see that half of John's face is Wei's and that her fingers are fused to his mouth. And then we see an end title card. Grafted. So there was no trivia for this one. I had a lot of trivia for the substance. But what phobia is that? What phobia is that, Mac?
Trypanophobia?
Mm-hmm.
The intense, specific phobia of medical needles that can lead to avoiding vaccinations and necessary care, causing health problems. I obviously don't have this because I do use a needle every week for my HRT, but I will say intravenous stuff is just like so tough for me. Like, I have to take a pill every time I get my blood drawn. So I feel like I've honestly thought about finding a therapist just for this, of like, I don't even know what to call that. It's like veins like really freak me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, maybe go to like a phobia expert and get like exposure therapy or something like that.
I need it because like any mention of like blood and it's not even like the visual of blood. It's like the idea of a heart pumping blood, I have to be brief, just is like, I could faint, like thinking about it too much. And I really don't know what that is from, but there was a scene in Scream Queen's Ryan Murphy show that I feel like I'm one of like 5 people who watched it. But there was a scene that became my new biggest fear where like a character is killed by like just keeps getting like more like needles hooked up to her to take her blood out and all her blood's drained. New fear. It was so scary.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really scary. Well, briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? YHDSN gave it a half star. Loved it when Wei took the face of that white girl and suddenly she lost 22 pounds and her accent, whatever works for you, hun. The Final Bows gave it a half star. Could have spent the production money to some charity instead of making this piece of garbage. It started off good and then ended with guilt for wasting time watching this. Substance is incomparably greater than this body horror, horribly worst movie.
You really did pick a great one to pair with The Substance. Like, so many people are comparing it to it.
Yeah, big time. Like this person, WPCZ 1973 gave it a half star. The, in parentheses, complete lack of substance.
I would find it funny if I thought The Substance was good.
Well, I have a parenthetical when we get to that movie. So Storm Fett gave it 5 stars. A movie that manages to tackle body image, white supremacy, work abuse of international students, and sexual predation of college students by professors, doing each topic full justice, and the dog survives until the end. Absolute annihilator, 10 out of 10.
You can't say that a movie tackles it if it's like, here's an idea. Like that. Like,
a mention is not a tackle.
No. And I am not a part of many, of the groups that this movie, like, I can't relate on a personal level to Wei in any way, but I question if other people who would be like, yes, I do believe that my experience was thoughtfully tackled in this film.
Mm-hmm. Amy gave it 5 stars. New addition to the good for her universe. And Rotten Rabbit 27 gave it 5 stars. Awesome ass movie.
A positive ass review.
I know.
That's rare.
So how would we rate this?
Corpse Flowers?
Yes.
2.5.
Okay. I would give it 3. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, it's not racist or sexist. So
that's true.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's overtly racist or sexist.
Okay. I don't believe it deconstructs many racist things that it brings up. Mm-hmm. Like again, I like the scenes because there were some scenes where Wei's eating and the other characters are looking at her with disgust. This is a real thing people go through, but it's like, it just sometimes feels like torture porn in a way, like emotional torture porn of just watch this poor girl get bullied. And I guess they get their comeuppance, but like, do they, does anybody learn anything? I don't know.
No, I would say no to that.
No.
What have we learned?
Okay. Don't use yourself as a test subject. I think that was her dad's fucking fatal flaw. Like, this is kind of 101 in like science. And you could have been, like a real father to your child had you not just been like, I think I'll just put it on myself now without testing it. That's crazy.
I just don't think this is possible the way the movie laid it out. I don't think Wei can just put on somebody's face and be that person. There's so much more to a person than their face.
And like, had they given us some precedent, like maybe a character in a movie could do this had they been a trained actor or, English was their first language. Like, then I could believe it a little bit more. But you gave me the most unbelievable thing and just told me to believe it.
Yeah. And students, don't date your profs.
No. And especially if they call you like a stupid bimbo to your face. She's so hot. She could have anybody.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate. Would we watch it again?
No.
Did you have a favorite scene or kill?
Yeah, I do think I liked a lot of the intro scenes. I liked when it was more grounded in reality, like really seeing Wei struggle with, because she does put herself out there and it's rejected so wholly by her. Well, she tries it with like 3 mean girls and doesn't try again, but I liked all of that. It made me excited for what was to come.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I'm going to take the drill scene. I thought that was really gnarly.
That was so nasty.
It was really cool, though. I thought the special effects were really good.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with because I was looking up to see what some other people thought online, and I saw people really diss the special effects, but I thought they were fine.
I thought they were good, and I thought the makeup, like the chopstick in the eye, and
great.
I thought it was good stuff. And the disfigurement always looked the same.
Yes.
So I think that's at least impressive. And who wins the You Fool Award? Wei's dad?
Wei's dad. Yeah. No, yeah. Wei's dad, buddy, that was not the move.
Nope, sure wasn't.
Or to at least try it on your leg or something. Like, you immediately put it next
on
to
your face.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, I guess he thought he had found, the one, but even still, not very scientific.
No.
But that was Grafted.
Grafted. Our next movie is The Substance. Here is a short plot summary from IMDb. A fading celebrity takes a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that helps her create a younger, better version of herself. It was directed and written by Coralie Fargay, starring Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid, with cinematography by Benjamin Kratchun, edited by Coralie Fargay, Jerome Eltebet, and Valentine Ferron, with music by Rafferty. It was released May 19th, 2024 at Cannes, September 20th, 2024 in the UK and US, and November 6th, 2024 in France, with a runtime of 141 minutes. Let me tell you what I think about that runtime. If you are a horror movie, you better have a damn good reason. Nay, any movie. You better give me a damn good reason to be longer than 90 minutes. If you are trying to be funny, you should try to be as short as possible. If you are trying to be scary, I think you should be as brief, short as possible. Why in the hell is this movie 141 minutes long? So many times I hit pause and I went, what in God's name could be next?
Yeah.
Thank Christ I didn't see this in the movie theater. It actually made me so mad because anytime I started to be like, you know what, I'll give this to you. This is good. Oh, wait, it went on for too damn long. Mm-hmm. You've lost me. WoHos, I won't lie. As you can already tell, I am not a fan of this film. And before you say, Mac, you went in wanting to dislike this movie. Oh, no. I did not. I went in with expectations, I would say medium, because I expect most movies to not be good. However, anybody who knows that I like horror movies in my life, many who I think are not frequent horror movie watchers, were like, Mac, have you seen this movie called The Substance? I swear it's so good. And then everybody was saying, this movie, The Substance, so good, tackles body image and misogyny. So all I went in was, people tell me it's good. It has Demi Moore and it tackles misogyny and there are gross scenes. That's all I knew. And would you know it, within the first 10 minutes, I was like, uh-oh. Oh, no. And I was not on my phone at all watching this movie. I was locked in. Here's my opinion. If at any point you checked your phone while watching this movie, you don't get to have an opinion on it because Alan was playing a video game the whole time. And at the end, I thought that was pretty good. I said, okay, were you locked the fuck in the whole time? Because if you were, you would have been like, fuck this movie. I'm so mad. I wanted to like it. And every time I thought, Matt, calm down. This is just a movie. But then, okay, if somebody walked up to you on the street and said, you're a stupid piece of shit, you'd say, fuck you. Now, if a movie tells me I'm a stupid piece of shit, I'm also going to say fuck you. And I think at several points this movie said, Mac, you're stupid. I know you're not paying attention. Yes, I am. I'm giving you 141 minutes of my life, now longer, because I spent a few hours thinking about how much I didn't like it. And then I watched the making of, and I gained a little bit of appreciation. But more so, it then made me sad because I was like, how sad you spent so much time on this and it's not good. I know I'm throwing some hot takes out there, and feel free to give me a wrong response. The wrong response being you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
So do you want to know my parenthetical?
Yes.
Okay. In parentheses, style over substance.
Ooh, that's amazing. And so factual. And I want to hold space for the intent behind the film, which was obviously the struggle it is to be a woman in our society. Yes, I concur. I'm not Demi Moore's age. I don't know what that's like. I think I do know what it's like to go from being like I was saying to Alan, it did make me think about how if you have never been a hot 18-year-old girl, that's a unique experience that I think is like so indescribable. I was one once, and that's not me bragging. I'm just saying, like, I at one point was an 18-year-old girl on a dating app with men of all ages wanting to predate on me. It was a strange rush of both I'm desired and also I'm in danger. I think that's something a lot of people, you look at a young, beautiful girl and you might think that's power. And in a way it is, but it is also scary. And also, even in that moment, or maybe you don't, but I knew that this was a temporary thing I'd be going through, because even when you hit 19, there are people who are like, bye, not interested, which is scary. I know I'm not even talking about the movie right now, but it did have me thinking, I will give it that like, okay, here's a hot take. I actually think it's a lukewarm take. I think if you're an adult man or woman who is specifically interested in 18-year-olds, you're a pedophile. Because if the law was 17, you'd be into 17-year-olds. If the law was 19, you'd be into 19-year-olds. It's like you're attracted to the proximity to youth, children. I know it's legal, but it's an arbitrary thing that we made up. We just decided 18 was now you're an adult. I was 18 once. I didn't feel like an adult. And I don't think there was a difference between being 17 and 364 days old and 18. And yet now here's 40-year-old men who are like in my inbox being like, I want to fuck you. That's crazy. That's actually insane. Yeah. And I know the same is still true for people under 18, but it will be more so because people are like, oh, I won't go to jail for it. So I know that it's a lot to like have that at one point. And then it is true, I think, that even when you're a 30-year-old woman, society's like, we are just so much less interested in you. Like, and then when you are 40, 50, 60, society's like, go away, get out of here. this is all true, and I feel for the reason why this movie was made. I just feel like maybe people who love it are doing a little bit of heavy lifting for the movie because they appreciate the message. And now I'll get into it. I only feel so strongly because this movie was like the movie, you know?
Yeah,
and
it
so
was.
you expect it to be good. And I am ashamed to say that I was like, did a man write this? And then I was like, I was shocked that a man did not write this because it felt that surface level. It felt like, who's that guy who did Men?
Alex Garland.
It's not to that level of like, you're an idiot, but the Venn diagrams are a little bit overlapping. I felt similarly. Okay. Rant. Not over, but abated for a second. Okay. So the movie begins with this close-up of an egg yolk getting injected, and then a second yolk forms. And then we see, I do like this little sequence. I abhor the name Elizabeth Sparkle. Okay, if your character's name is Elizabeth Sparkle, the movie's not allowed to be longer than 90 minutes. Because I get, like, we get it. She was a star, okay? I like simple plot lines, but the runtime should then also match that. Okay, so Elizabeth Starkle's Walk of Fame star is being installed. We get to see the whole life cycle of it being installed, which was very cool to watch. Then, you know, what must have been the debut. Then people taking photos and whatnot. And then time goes on, and now it's just another piece of the sidewalk. A man even, you know, people are like, oh, remember her? And then a guy drops a burger and smears it with ketchup. So, you know, how far we have fallen. We learn that Ms. Elizabeth Sparkle was like an award-winning actress, but now is does like an aerobic show called Sparkle Your Life with Elizabeth Sparkle. And so we get to see Demi Moore do a really cool little routine. And as a sign off, she says, take care of yourself, and blows a kiss. This is obviously for older women too. Like the other women with her are older. And this is a point to me of contention to where I think I like that she's an aerobics instructor, you know, like this is in a way a fall from grace, a fall from fame. If you go from being an award-winning actress to doing an aerobic show, many would say that is a downgrade. And I feel like that theme is not like okay. So I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited.
A little more time could have been spent on that. Like, why is she an aerobics teacher or aerobics? So does that mean that she was only a star like in her teen years?
Yeah.
Was she a child actor? I don't know. So
there's a lot we don't know.
It's a little unclear.
And you know, I think she puts her all into this, but you know, it's clearly, to me, it seems clear that this is someone hanging on to the spotlight. So, you know, she walks down this corridor that's decorated with posters for Sparkle Your Life from all different ages. So yeah, it is like, is she like Jillian Michaels? Like it, you know?
Yeah. Well, Jane Fonda is what I thought of.
Oh yeah. And yeah, it's very like 80s vibe throughout this. I know it's kind of making a comeback. Well, more like 90s, and Y2K is making a comeback. But I was like, what time is it right now? Everybody's wishing her a happy birthday, which, you know, she doesn't seem to be too happy about. And, you know, the women's bathroom is out of order, so she has to use the men's room. Then Dennis Quaid bursts in. You know, he's loud and he's abrasive and he's pissing and he's on the phone. You know, he's saying that he needs to find a new young woman, you know, denigrates Elizabeth, saying like, you know, after 50, you know, you lose it or something like that. It's really vague, but just, you know, basically saying like, you're done. as a person. If you're, and you know, he himself, he's like an older guy. He's in his 70s. I looked it up. He's 71 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, you know, men get to be old and be in things forever. And Demi Moore is like 63. So she's not even 50. Like, which is a point. I'll get to Demi Moore. I think she did great. I'm not like, I think all the actors did great. I just have a little bit of an issue with some of the messaging in this movie. Okay. So, yeah, he's a nasty guy. He doesn't even wash his hands and he leaves. And then we see Elizabeth, you know, kind of dejectedly get out of the bathroom, having heard all of this. And then we see like a title card, Elizabeth. Then we have the most disgusting scene ever of the guy Harvey, Dennis Quaid, eating shrimp. He's eating it with his hands. He's such a nasty guy. You're getting beaten over the head with the idea being obviously men get to be nasty and old and women have to be perfect and young and beautiful. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, every time we see Dennis Quaid, he is in extreme close-up, and I don't even know if, I don't think it's a fisheye. I just think it's like a close-up on his face. And so he's got like shrimp bits like all over his chin, and we're seeing his mouth as he's eating these shrimp, and it's pretty stomach turning.
Yeah. And there's just like he didn't even finish all his shrimp either.
No.
So much. And he's basically telling her like, you know, we need a change. You had a great run. And he doesn't even stay. Like he leaves because he sees another guy and just leaves her at the table. She is, you know, really in her head as she's driving. She sees an advertisement of herself being like they literally rip her face off and then a car hits her, which you know is about to happen. She's totally uninjured. The doctor says, you know, not even a bone broken. She's just kind of sitting dejectedly. I do like the later contrast of this scene. Like she's got the open back gowns. We see her back. I did say out loud, the color grading in this movie is bizarre because
yes,
I feel like they turned the saturation up so much and it looked kind of amateur to me. Also, like the lack of music for a while threw me off. Like I was saying to Alan, like there's a lot of horror movies I've seen like this where obviously the point is the concept, not really like she doesn't have any friends or family. Elizabeth isn't even really a person. She's like a vehicle for the story to be told.
Right.
My argument again would be then your movie should be as short as possible because what do you have to do if we all get it so fast, which I would say we do. And I just feel like the color grading in this scene was just so like there's a young nurse there who's so like his eyes are so blue and his skin is so saturated. So yeah, the doctor who's there is telling her, you're fine. By the way, my wife is a huge fan. Oh, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And then Elizabeth starts crying, which is pretty sad. And he's just like, okay, goodbye. So then the young, beautiful nurse, you know, is still checking up on her, obviously doing something outside of protocol. He's like really looking at her back, like squeezing it. And he goes like, oh, you'd be a perfect candidate. We get a lot of zoom in on the huge stain, the huge birthmark on his hand. Don't forget about that, guys. Don't worry, I didn't. You zoomed in on it 80 times. I hate it when people think I'm stupid. Okay? I'm not stupid. But
well, later when we get to the diner scene, I'm pretty outraged at that.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's when I said, fuck this movie out loud. So she leaves and she realizes that she's been given a USB drive called The Substance with a note that says, it changed my life. Obviously, this is from the nurse. She runs into a guy who just says that he was in like 5th grade homeroom with her. She doesn't remember him. So this could be any guy. But, you know, he's saying, wow, you're still the most beautiful girl in the world. And here's my number. He drops it in like the muddy water, but still gives it to her. And she's like, okay, like, thanks. Obviously feels like she would never call this guy. And I mean, you shouldn't. If you're a beautiful star and a guy comes up and says, I knew you from school and you don't recognize him, he's lying. Like, can anybody just say this and get a call back?
Well, sure. I don't think Fred was lying, but
I know he wasn't, but
you're right. That would be a really good gambit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if everybody says gullible as Elizabeth, then we get this. What I think was the nice contrast is she's getting drunk in a bar. Like we see all her, martini glasses lined up. She's wearing this open backed dress. And, I guess the lighting is really showing off that Demi Moore is somebody who made it to the age of 63. So obviously your skin changes. But here's where I begin to take just like a little bit of umbrage with this movie and Demi Moore. Not her performance. She's great. And I get casting her. She was a star who was famous when she was younger, who is now older. Yes. But if you are trying to look at me in the eye and tell me that this is a woman who even looks her age, you're wrong. Demi Moore, I'm not saying she's had plastic surgery, but she's had lip filler. She's had Botox. Her hair is not black. I'm sorry, she dyes her hair. No way. I have gray hair now. Like, somebody at 63's got perfectly black hair. Is that a thing that happens? No. So already we have a woman who, I think if you were a 40-year-old woman and you looked like Demi Moore, you'd say, I'm pretty sexy. Like, I would believe still that Demi Moore has gone through feeling pushed to the side because she is not 20. Yes. But like, she's not like an ugly hag. She doesn't even look 50.
Yeah.
Like, am I wrong?
No, but I mean, later when we see the ad for the new Elizabeth Sparkle, they want somebody at the upper limit to be 30. So, yeah. Like you were talking about. Before this, though, she looks at what's on the drive. And so it shows that you have to take an injection. It's for a better version of yourself. Week 1 is for you. 1 week is for the other you, or whatever. And you are one is what you have to remember. But she throws it away and then she goes to the bar.
Oh, you're right. Yes. And later she's looking at all of her awards and there's a snow globe, at the poster. She has a giant poster of herself in her beautiful apartment. I'm not saying rich people don't have problems, but I'll get to it later. But
I'm sorry, there's a typo there. She throws the snow globe at the poster.
Oh, yeah, she throws it and it hits the poster and causes this picturesque, crack right in one of her eyes that, spider webs out. Next day, she's hungover. She has a maid, by the way, cleaning up her apartment. If we could all be so lucky. She sees in the newspaper an ad that says, who will be the next Elizabeth Sparkle? 18 to 30 only, and she balls it up and throws it away. Then she receives, she gets a call. She has to go to a location. And here's one motif I really enjoyed was the use of yellow in this movie to kind of convey danger. Like, she's always wearing this yellow coat. She's walking through. She has to go to this nasty, shady building. It barely even opens up all the way. And there's like a good shot of her standing with this yellow sign that's like exterminator, and the yellows match in her coat. I like that a lot. The little place where she picks up the box, it's like all these little lockers, and she has a key card that says 503, and it's really clean and sterile looking despite being in this nasty building, so it's all very shady. So she goes home, opens up the box, And, you know, I love the way that everything is packaged in here. It reminds me of getting like Blue Apron or something. Like there's the activator, the stabilizer, these instructions that have this like white paper with this big black font. It says you activate only once. Like this is a single use file, throw it away. You stabilize every day. You switch every 7 days without exception. And remember, you are one. So she takes all of her supplies. She's naked. We see her, you know, and I like all the shots of her in the bathroom, like really looking at herself and whatnot. And so she, you know, injects this nasty green stuff right into her vein. And I said also out loud, that is so much liquid. Like I take testosterone and it's like such a small amount. So they really made her put a lot in there. And, you know, she injects it, looks at herself and nothing happens for a sec. She kind of laughs like, what am I doing? And then, the transformation. It's obviously excruciating. She's like rolling around on the ground. There's this like, you know, tunnel scene. I thought this went on a little bit too long. We get it. Okay. We get it. Things are going crazy right now. Like my point with stuff being too long is if you are now making me bored and now I'm starting to think about everything that doesn't make sense, you failed. That's my opinion, because every movie's got something that has some heavy lifting that like doesn't, like, you know, not every movie is 100% erudite, but if it's snappy enough, I'm never left thinking about it. But I was left thinking about it a lot with this movie. And again, don't forget, I was locked the fuck in. So I can only imagine what it was like seeing it in the theater.
I have to say, this was pretty cool though. The back birthing scene. Like her skin is bubbling. And the making of shows how they did this and stuff. But I would encourage everybody who, whether or not you like this movie, to look at that making of. It's on YouTube and it's sponsored by Mubi. And it just shows a lot of really cool things that they did in the lab after they had shot with all the actors. I think it did make me appreciate it a lot. But her back is bubbling, and then her back splits open along the spinal column. And then we see sort of an elbow emerging from her back, which is pretty cool.
And I loved, like, they got the skin texture of her. Like, I loved the contrast of her skin texture versus Margaret Qualley's. Like, I'm sure it was even, like, exaggerated a little bit. And, like, Demi Moore's got beautiful skin, obviously. But, like, you know, if you reach any age past, you know, 25, like, I even have them now where, like, your skin just starts to get discolored because you've existed. And I really liked I felt like they showed some subtlety there with the contrast of the, you know, overly pale, smooth skin compared to Demi Moore's skin. I thought that was very good. And like Demi Moore obviously has a beautiful body. I loved the way that they showed it to just show, like, I think with how much women are policed for their bodies, any sort of like perceived imperfection, in quotes, you know, you feel 100-fold, because anything less than perfect is horrific, ugly, you know? And so before, I think I'm too soon in making my point about Demi Moore. I think she was like a perfect choice for casting. And I think, like, to be a star that once was like a youthful star, or, you know, just a young person, now just being obviously like not 18, even with her being, you know, gorgeous body, just having any sign of age, I thought, I like the message of that like, that's tough.
I wonder though, because I feel like, so she's supposed to have just turned 50, and obviously her skin isn't as tight as it once was, and her breasts sag more than they used to and things like that. But she's goddamn gorgeous. And so
like
if
next level.
If they wanted to emphasize like the sagging skin or something like that, I mean, they could have even had a body double. But like I don't understand why. I mean, I thought it was cool that she was nude in the film, because you don't get to see, older women at all, but you don't get to see them nude in film. So I just thought that was cool in and of itself. But they didn't, I mean, I didn't get the idea that she had, an ugly body. Like maybe she's heavier when she's older, or something, but she's goddamn gorgeous. And it didn't translate, I don't think, as well as they wanted it to.
I would agree. I don't think it hits. Like, it's unbelievable in a way. Like, I can believe that any woman feels self-conscious at some point, any person, but like, she looks amazing. Like, when you look at her body, you don't think, ugh. And I'm not saying you should. But like, you think, oh my God.
But I think that's what they were kind of going for. I know. And then you find out she was like 60 when she made this film. I mean, she has an amazing body for any age, but for a 60-year-old, like, it's remarkably good.
And yeah, it's like I think when they showed her breasts, I actually had the thought, like, those don't look like a 60-year-old's breasts. Like, my boobs didn't look like that when I was 20. Like, they look perky, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't think, if you just didn't put her face and you just showed the boobs and you asked somebody, how old is the person who has these boobs? Nobody would say 60. Right. Nobody on this earth. So, yeah. But I would agree, the back birth scene is very cool. It's disgusting. I love that it was all practical. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And then we see Margaret Qualley, stand up. She looks in the mirror and she sees she is the 30-year-old version of herself, and the body of her older self is on the floor. So they have this thread. She stitches up the back. I love this scene. I love that, like, I don't know, kind of the connection you can just make to it being like meat, mm-hmm. like the way women's bodies are like just used as meat to like sell things and whatnot. I love all that kind of themes, all those themes. She admires herself, her body in the shower. Like, we had seen her showering before and it was more just like a person in the shower, but now she's like putting her hands down her hair and like just really like there's so much emphasis on her butt.
Yeah.
And they had to do that because Demi Moore's boobs are too amazing. They were like, okay, her butt's the only place where you can kind of tell she's older. That I really feel like that's what they thought, because Margaret Qualley's got a very supple butt.
But what's funny, in the trivia, those aren't Qualley's breasts.
So they had to make her boobs look more like Demi Moore's.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So she gets a bloody nose and rereads the instructions that say, you stabilize every day. So then she takes this spinal fluid from her older self and injects it into herself, and now she's feeling better. She then goes to audition for the aerobic show. Now, okay, here's my thing. Mm-hmm. One part of me is like, I get it. The ad said, we're looking for the new Elizabeth Sparkle. She, you could say, wow, how sad it is. And I did like the theme of like how much the male gaze affects women. That's not even really, like, it's just kind of accepted. Like, yeah, she's trying to perform for men. She's so stuck in this mindset that even though at one point she was an actress, that's how small, I guess, her dreams have become, that she just wants to be the aerobics again. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking, what if she can't be an actress anymore? Because there's no parts for older women. But now she could be an actress. She just wants to be in the aerobics, which was meant to illustrate that she is no longer an actress. Like, that was tough for me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the world was her oyster, so we are to believe. And I just wrote down 30-year-old self because Quali was 30 when she made the movie. But I think we could imagine that she's in her 20s. So she can do anything in this world. And so in this world, being in aerobics, having an aerobics show
is the top.
Yeah, it's peak entertainment.
And like, again, if people are going to argue, oh, well, that's because the male gaze and performing for men has really warped her brain. Okay, I'll accept that. I would still say, though, while watching it, it confused me. Mm-hmm. I don't think if that's the message it was trying to send, maybe didn't do the best job. But she goes to audition. She gets a nice new like leotard and knocks the socks off of her audition. She says that her name is Sue, and then we have this like shot of like the clip of her like zoom in of her mouth saying Sue, and Dennis Quaid is like, oh my god, like, you, whatever you want, yes, you. And, she tells him like, well, I need to take every other week off to help my mom. She's sick. And he's like, listen, I want you for the show, so we'll work around it. And I liked that. It's showing like, again, it's not even that a young woman has power. It's just how much less power and how much you're just thrown away when you get older. Mm-hmm. It feels euphoric for her to be the age she is now, but to get to feel again like people would, move the moon for her. I like that. So then, we get a montage of, what once was a billboard of Elizabeth Sparkle is now Sue, introducing the new show, coming soon. And she looks great. She's got her photo shoot, but now she has to switch back. So Elizabeth goes back to work. In the hallway, all of the posters have been removed. Harvey goes up to her and gives her a going away present. And the way he's treating her is so different than the way he was treating Sue. It really is just like she's a nobody. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, when Sue is talking to Harvey in his office, we get a moment where he's like being horrible to like his secretary. And I liked the little things here or there that they showed of that. Like, I wish in a way it was explored more of like when we see it's like before when Elizabeth is in her apartment seeing the stuff, we're looking for the new Elizabeth Sparkle. There's like an older, heavier woman doing her labor in, her apartment. And then here we have the assistant who is just a normal looking woman being just completely like, he's being so horrible to her. Whereas to Sue, he's like, anything you want, He straight up tells this woman she's going to have a different name now.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's like, too long.
You're Cindy now. And I did love like anytime we get like, because like during the auditions, there's a girl that goes before Sue and they're like, if only her boobs were on her face instead of that nose, like we just have the most mid looking men just openly judging women's bodies. And these women are doing their best for them, trying to please them without a second thought. It's like, I do love that. That's like my favorite thing in this movie maybe is that all of this too is not even for a greater purpose. It's to please men. And that's something that never even goes away. It's like all of it's a trap. So I like that message. But now we're back to Elizabeth. Harvey gives her going away present. And, she just feels like shit. Here's where I begin to take umbrage. Because, again, Demi Moore right now, I know she's feeling like, oh, I wish I could just go back to being Sue. But like, this woman's rich. She's still beautiful. And all she's doing is watching TV. I think this would make more sense when we see Demi Moore later after some of the changes.
Right.
But right now, no shot. Like, it blew my mind. I was like, this does not make sense for this right now, this Elizabeth Sparkle. Later Elizabeth Sparkle, yes. Okay, I get it. But like, Demi Moore today could find a 20-year-old guy to have sex with. She could find 5. She could find 10. Like, you cannot tell me she can't. And I just feel like these scenes were misplaced in the movie.
Well, I mean, she's just been let go of this job that she's had like for decades. And she feels like at 50, she's washed up and she doesn't really have any purpose in life anymore. So I didn't have as hard of a time with it. I thought it kind of made sense that she was just passing the time, waiting until she can get to be Sue again.
I guess I get that. I just wish maybe it would have been a little bit like the sitting watching TV makes a little bit more sense later when she even has trouble walking. But for right now, she's still able-bodied. She's rich. Like, I didn't believe it as much, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I get the idea of passing time, but I just felt like that execution, it didn't work for me. But I do see, Alan also disagreed with me, but that's how I felt. But I do like this, that, you know, Elizabeth is the one to get the refill box. She's kind of doing all the management for Sue now. Much like the women in this movie doing labor because they are also not as beautiful as Sue. When she is Sue, she shuts off the TV and looks disdainfully down at the chair with Elizabeth's ass grooves imprinted on it. And I love the beginning of this theme of self-hatred, of being like, what is that person doing? And the constant message of, that's you. You did that. I love that. I will give that to this movie. That was amazing. So I love the beginning of all this stuff. Oliver, the neighbor, stops by because she starts building a separate room. So she doesn't want to look at Elizabeth's body anymore. It's like even hard for her to look at it now. So she finds out there's like a hollow space behind her bathroom. So she's drilling into it so she can literally like shut it away and not look at it. This makes Oliver, her neighbor, stop by. And he thinks at first it's Elizabeth Sparkle living there. But when he sees Sue, he's like, oh, hi. Like, he can't even speak. You know, she's just so beautiful and shining that he literally just like inches back to his apartment and is just so, you know, it must feel so powerful for Sue to, you know, have this guy go from being like that old lady that lives there to like, oh, goddess, oh, I'm not worthy. So yeah, she moves Elizabeth into the new room, which is just like a dark, you know, space, and also puts the portrait of Elizabeth in there. Sue's new show is called Pump It Up. And I thought the scene where she's dancing for Pump It Up went on way too long.
So long.
So like, we get it. We get it. I did like that the sound, like the music for Pump It Up, was similar to like the nrr, like that sting that they do all the time. That was good. But yeah, hey, if you like seeing Margaret Qualley's butt, you'll love this scene. There's a new poster of her in the hallway to mark the beginning of this era. That's cool. Okay. So now she goes out. It's the day she's supposed to switch. And she looks down because she has to give like a bag of, you know, it's like sectioned off into 7 sections that is like food given intravenously to the other body. And there's still a little bit left for the last day, but, you know, she's just like, you can wait a few more hours. And she goes out. So then she's making out with a young man in the living room. And in the closet, Elizabeth is wheezing because it's time to switch. Sue starts to get a bloody nose, but decides to stabilize another day. So take more, spine fluid, and makes out with the young man again. I thought this dialogue was so crazy. He goes, because she stabilizes again now for the 8th time. And he goes, wow, you look even more beautiful than before.
What did you do?
It's like, okay. We get this like great shot of his hands on her butt. One thing I'll say, I didn't love this outfit because to me, again, Demi Moore's body is insane. She could wear that outfit and look great. Why not have her show as much skin as possible to really just hammer home youth versus older? Like, just like the skin. Again, if Demi Moore was fat in any way, maybe it makes sense. She would feel too self-conscious to wear something. But I think she could wear that and look great.
Yeah.
So
that I think it's for this.
It was just so they could unzip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so now she's making out with this guy and he unzips her suit from the back and all this viscera pops up. I love that scene. I exclaimed, gross. I was like, oh, it freaked me out. And Elizabeth wakes up scared. She checks Sue's back, but it's fine. So she's kind of starting to lose it a little bit. Elizabeth goes to the living room, finds all these beer bottles and mess left over from the party the night before. Again, I love this theme of like, who did this? And it being her who did it. I love that because I have struggled with similar feelings of like, what piece of shit did this? And it being me the whole time and not accepting that. I think that was a great way to convey that. Elizabeth sees a note that Troy, the boy from earlier, has left, but when she goes to grab it, she sees in horror that her index finger is super gnarly and nasty, like the fingernails yellow, the fingers all bony and discolored. I love that. That looked amazing. And, she's trying to like scrub it away. It's staying. She sees that the injection site on her back is red and inflamed. And she looks resentfully at Sue, who's just peacefully, sleeping in the closet because she thinks of it as Sue did this to me.
Right.
Elizabeth calls the substance number to ask how she can reverse the alteration. I love the way she puts it. She's like, more stabilizer fluid was taken and there was an alteration. Like, what can we do to reverse it? And he's like, what has been done, cannot be changed. What has been taken cannot be reversed. You have to respect the balance. And he, enforces again, like, you need to respect the balance. There is no she. Love that. And if she doesn't want any more inconveniences, follow the damn rules. So here's my most hated scene in this film. This scene, I often say this should go in the MoMA. This goes in the anti-MoMA. This goes in the what not to do. This goes in the, hey, if you want your audience to feel like you think they're dumb pieces of shit, do this. Because, okay, already I've been thinking the whole time we're going to see that guy again.
Right.
We're going to see the guy. We know this. If you know anything about narratives, not to make you feel bad if you didn't know that was going to happen, but duh, that was going to happen. So she goes to a diner after she gets her next refill box, and we see an old man who obviously is that nurse. Obviously, he's got the piercing blue eyes. He looks similar. But here's how the scene should have gone. I will illustrate it for you. She's already kind of losing it. She already had a hallucination where viscera is falling out her back. That's great, okay? She's cracking. She sees this guy. He looks like the nurse. And she can still say, did you follow me here? And we don't get confirmation that it is that guy. We know it probably is, but it's a great way to illustrate there's something wrong with this lady.
Right.
Here's what actually happens is we see the guy who is that guy. He drops something. We see the stain on the hand. Okay, yeah. We see his stupid key card. And then we see the scar on his back. Oh, no, that wasn't enough. The audience is fucking stupid pieces of shit. Let's show the nurse.
Yeah.
I was yelling at the TV because when it was one thing after another, I was just like, I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid.
Really offensive.
It's offensive. I'm offended. I am offended by this scene.
Too. I was like, God, how many things do you need to show us so that we understand? The flashback to the face of the young nurse was
over the line.
Over the line.
She should be sent to jail for that. I don't even know what to say. Like,
it's just a badly written scene.
Knocks off that scene. 1 star gets taken off for that scene alone.
Okay.
In my opinion. Now he's talking. He's, again, if you just had this be some old guy who maybe is the nurse, I don't know, maybe let's let the audience use their brains. And, you know, he could say something cryptic. Old people do that all the time. But he's saying a bunch of cryptic shit. He's like, every time he feels more lonely, he knows it's her. You know, it's harder to believe that this part of yourself deserves to exist. It just goes on and on. He asks if she started eating away at you yet. And she has to get out of there. Fuck, man. God. And then again, what is very unbelievable to me is she bumps into Troy and he treats her like she's a troglodyte. Like, Demi Moore, she could fuck that guy tomorrow. You can't tell me she can't. Like, that guy would be lucky to fuck Demi Moore. If this is Demi Moore later in the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Now? No. Now I'm getting mad. Now I'm watching the movie and I'm upset. She feels so sad, you know, that this rando LA loser has been rude to her, that she calls up Fred. I'm pissed off. Like, I'm so mad now. Like, I just was like, no way. No way. No. No way. Fred? We're bringing back Fred's number? We get your most beautiful girl in the world. No. I hate this scene. And I saw people online say, oh, this is the best scene in the movie. Fuck off. You're dumb. You're stupid. Listen, she dresses up. She feels too anxious to go out. That makes sense, okay? I'm not saying that Demi Moore or any woman that beautiful has never felt like that. I'm not saying that. And I think the emotion Demi Moore shows in that scene, great. She did a great job. I like the lipstick, whatever, but I don't believe it. And now you really got me thinking about everything that doesn't make sense in this movie. Half star taken off.
Wow.
What did you think about this scene?
I actually like this scene. I like it because it's really good suspense. She's supposed to meet him at 8 and the clock keeps ticking. And what's happening is she looks in the mirror. She doesn't like what she sees. So she touches up her makeup, but then she doesn't like that. And she thinks like her neck looks bad. So she goes to get a scarf and the clock's ticking away and she's got to meet him at 8. And she just can't get it right in terms of her makeup or her appearance. Now, one thing I just want to put out there, you know, is that you keep mentioning how attractive she is, but her self-esteem, we will realize later, is below the ground. And so it doesn't really matter how pretty she is. And it doesn't matter that she got all these accolades earlier in life for how pretty she was. It's just not enough. And it would never be enough.
I agree. And I totally understand the point of the scene and what it represents. I think if they even made her have some gray hair or something, like it could hit more.
Yeah.
But I don't like in this way, this was a miscast to me.
Yeah. I wonder how much of this was Demi and how much of this was the director. Because
yes.
I can imagine Demi's like, okay, yes, I'll be naked. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this, but no gray hair or something like that. I could imagine that. Or I could imagine the makeup person, making this decision. Ultimately, I think it would be the decision of the writer director. But yeah, I wonder whose call it was.
Yeah. Because, she looks not 18, but to have an actress where, and I know the point is, you can be beautiful. And that's why it's so heartbreaking. Oh, she's still so beautiful. She doesn't have to do this. But it would hit more if she actually had more signs of aging than I think she does.
Yeah.
I know she still has some, and some will say that's enough. Okay. But I, the viewer, think it didn't hit the way I wish it would hit, because I felt this way. Every time, like, I try something new in my outfits, I've had moments where you're like, no, I look stupid. And you go back, you take everything off. That's so relatable. And I'm not saying that Demi Moore can't ever feel that way, or, but it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
That's all.
I get it.
So she doesn't see Fred, which is really sad. And because she's too self-conscious to do it and has no self-esteem. Then, we cut back to Sue doing her thing. While she's shooting, there's a moment where she bends down and like this bulge happens in her hip. And I love this. Now you got me back. Because she's so freaked out. And I just love in all these scenes, like, I think this is just beautifully done where, they're like, no, hold on. Like, the director says he saw something weird. We're going to put it up on the big screen. And it's so scary for her. She's like, I have to go. And she puts on a robe and she leaves and she goes back to her dressing room. I love all of that. I thought that was so well done. So tense. Then we have this disgusting ass scene where she's like finding the bulge. And I loved this because it made me think of, if any of y'all have ever seen those videos of like butt injections gone wrong. It looks like this, where there's like lumps. Oh. And so that harkened back to that. And I thought that was I don't know if that's what they were going for, but just the price of body modifications to fit a mold, that is body horror. And so, she's moving this bulge around, and I was watching this between my fingers where she's pulling out a drumstick from her belly button. No, it's so gross. I was going, no. But that stuff is so fun. She then sees evidence of Elizabeth's gorging on an entire chicken as well as potato chips. I love that. How many times have you ever, seen an empty bag of food and you're like, who did that? Oh, I did that. So I love all of this stuff. Yeah, chef's kiss. Harvey, like she goes back to shoot one day and everything's all packed up. She's worried. She goes to see Harvey and he's like, listen, the ratings, they're through the roof. You're amazing. You were at this number. Now it's this number. That's unprecedented. We want you to host the New Year's show. And she's just all smiles like, that's amazing. Yes, of course. So when Elizabeth wakes up, when she goes back, she won't switch back to Elizabeth. And keeps taking, oh God, I just was like, Alan, don't watch. Oh God, this was so gross, but in a great way. I say that with affection. This was horrible. She's taken spinal fluid after spinal fluid. And, has definitely double dipped way too much. This, quintillion dipped. So when Elizabeth finally wakes back up, she's horrified because she has aged drastically. Now she kind of looks a little bit more like your average 60-year-old. See, because this is just when we got to this scene, I thought this would make more sense.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, I'm a broken record. It's just like when you compare, like, Demi Moore at first in the movie to young Demi Moore, yeah, there's a difference. But there's really a difference now.
Yes.
And now this makes sense. Now this is a woman who has aged and looks a little, she got gray hair. I mean, it's really to the nth degree. There's a lot going on, but I guess I just really wish they would have given her some gray hair and wrinkles is all at first. Before this part, she has aged drastically now because Sue has taken so much from her. She calls the number because she's so out of her mind, and she's given the option to stop. They say, well, you can't go back to how it was before, but you can end the experiment here if you're not satisfied. But it's not even a question. She's like, no, I'm not going to stop. And I love that. I thought that was great. She finds out that the going away present from Harvey was a French cookbook filled with just like, to me, an American nasty sounding stuff like blood sausage and like, I'm not saying that food itself, but
chicken
meat
stuffed with foie gras.
Yeah, just like they're trying to make it sound gross. So that night she's just, doing some crazy lunch lady stuff in the kitchen while Sue comes on the TV being interviewed for a late night talk show. And like, it's just so over the top, which I do love. They're interviewing Sue like, she's her own person and saying like, oh, did you watch Elizabeth Sparkle's show? And she's like, oh, like, I didn't really watch it. My mom was really into it, but it's time for something new. And the whole time Elizabeth is like making this food and just mocking her on the TV, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like she hates Sue, hates her ass. And I loved this because it made me think of like moms who resent their daughters for being younger versions of them, kind of like,
yeah,
that's such a thing so many people go through. And I thought that really, because she's like, you got all this from me, like you owe it to me. And I thought that scene was great. And she just trashes the whole apartment and like plasters newspaper on the window to cover up the billboard of Sue. And when Sue wakes up and sees everything that has occurred, I mean, the apartment's disgusting and she is furious. So she grabs as many jars as she can and just keeps pumping out the spinal fluid. It is shocking. I loved it. Disgusting. Then we see a title card 3 months later. Oh my, like the dread I felt.
Me too.
Like, so scary. You're like,
so
what
much
happened?
time. That's so many weeks.
That's so many jars. So we see a card with roses that says, break a leg. They are going to love you, with it underlined. When she goes to get some stabilizer fluid from Elizabeth because she's got some new boy toy with her, all that comes out is this like black, nasty looking stuff. And she telephones the substance guy to be like, hey, there's no stabilizer fluid left. What do I do? And he's like, well, you got to switch back, dum-dum. And now everything's, going, topsy-turvy. She's bleeding from her nose and she goes back to the bathroom and he says, the only way for it to build back up is to switch. That's why you got to do the week on, week off. And, at first the idea of switching back, she's like, no, like I'm not going back to being that thing. And he's like, well, you got to. So since she has no choice, she's like, got this nosebleed. She goes back and switches. And now Elizabeth, this whole time has been kind of covered up by like a tarp or something. That's how much she doesn't even want to look at her, which I love. But when Elizabeth wakes up she has turned into she looks like something from Wrong Turn. Like she's like she looks like an evil hillbilly. Like she's got this gnarly back and like, no hair. Kind of like goblinish.
Yes.
And it's just horrifying. She is so horrified and feeling so upset, like Sue did this to me. She calls the number and is like, and I love now she's got some saggy boobs.
Yes.
The boob prosthetics were incredible. I love that. And like, boy toy's knocking on the bathroom door like, Sue, hey, what's up? And she's like, get out of here, And he like runs. He's like, who is this? She's like, get out. He leaves. So she calls, the substance people. She's like, I need to stop. We got to stop. And so they're like, okay, we're going to send you your final kit. So she drags Sue's body to the living room, which made me chuckle because at one point, like her head like thumps down some stairs. And there's like this syringe with a black liquid labeled termination. And she like really hesitates, but then, looks at her old self and is like, fuck, and slams it into Sue's like chest, but then can't put it in all the way. And like pulls it out and like tries to wake Sue up. And she's like, I need you because I hate myself. Which like, yeah, I don't know if you had to say it out loud. Like, I need you because I hate myself. Like it just felt a little bit like wow, how are you even more beautiful than before? Like,
yeah, there's so little dialogue in this film that it's like, this is what you would choose to put in there at this moment. But like, we get it.
Does she have that much clarity?
Before. I mean, apparently you turn into Gollum.
Yeah. But when she's getting like the substance, stuff, she puts on, the yellow coat again. And there's more like visuals of like yellow signs, I think, in the road, which was cool. And she really looks like a little babushka, like the hunchback and like waddling with all these scarves on. So I like that. So, then she tries to wake Sue up, and then it happens that now they are both awake at the same time, which is, a crazy feeling for both of them looking at each other. Now Sue has taken so much from Elizabeth, and Sue looks down and sees the syringe that says, termination, and just fucking goes off on Elizabeth. Like, beating her, slamming her into stuff. They're choking. She's, Elizabeth hits her with another glass bottle. They go into the bathroom. And this is when I said to Alan, now I know it's a French movie, because there was somebody rolling around smearing blood on a hard surface. I feel like every French horror movie has a scene with like nasty blood getting smeared around. She's like, throwing Sue's face over and over. I mean, Elizabeth's face over and over again into the mirror. It's cracking. She's waddling back to the living room, and finally Sue just completely beats her to death. And I love this scene. I just think this is a great way to illustrate hating yourself.
Oh my God. So the first time I saw this film, I was just about out at this point.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think Quinn was out. She never finished this film. And I think she just decided, she told me, she texted me at the time, I'm done. And I thought this was way too much. This was worse than the injection site stuff for me.
Yes. Well, I guess it didn't affect me, as this felt like par for the course for a French horror film, I guess. Like, this reminded me of Martyrs, like just so bloody and awful and nasty. But yeah, I mean, it is a lot. It's very over the top. It goes on for a long time. I guess like my favorite thing of this movie is the like self-hatred aspect. So, at the end, I guess you could have left, the highlight to me is the end where Sue's just kicking her over and over again. And but then she like has a moment of clarity and she's just like, oh my God, what the fuck did I just do?
Right.
I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
It felt so like, I don't know if you've ever really hated yourself. I do feel like it feels like this, where it's so unhealthy. It's about this unhealthy, I think, to beat yourself to death. Like, I think in that way, this added a star back on from like this. I was back in.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting.
So she goes to the station for the New Year's Eve show. I think I was excited. Well, I did pause and I said, now, how are there 45 more minutes left of this movie? I did say that out loud. That was shocking. I was shocked. I was like, what? What could happen? I still think maybe only 15 minutes were needed left. Maybe 10. Because what more can we say here? We can say a little bit very slowly. I did have a bit of dread. I was like, what's going to happen to her? That was scary. But yeah, she goes to the station. She's got a coughing fit where she coughs out one of her front teeth. Now, did we need to have her slowly pull out 2 more teeth? No,
we didn't need that part.
The one was enough. 2 tops. Harvey corners her. I did like this, that he has like a gaggle of like old men in suits behind him. I was like, yeah, okay. We get it, but like, okay, sure. Men, suck and are okay. Yeah. But he's like, smile. Pretty girls should always smile. Okay. Like, it feels a little bit like misogyny 101 of like, well, of course a guy tells a woman to smile in this movie. That's like what you learn in feminist class is that happens. She freaks out. She closed mouth smiles, obviously. Goes into, I liked the scene where it's like, she kind of can't hear well. And now we know it's because an ear has fallen off and she's just like some guy just says something to her on the elevator that we don't know, can't hear, and it just like leaves. I thought that was funny. She's like hitting a button and a fingernail starts to come off. Of course, I was waiting for the fingernail the whole time.
It had to happen.
Has to happen. If you're a body horror movie, I guess your fingernails have to come off. They don't. She runs home. She finds the activator. And it is labeled single use, discard after use, but she uses it because she wants to. And she says out loud again, like, make me a better version of myself. Okay, we get it. Her back splits apart again. And I loved this scene. I love the way it's shot of like, it's kind of like first person view now that the next thing has come out of her back. Like when it kind of tilts up to look into the mirror, we just get the briefest glimpse of like a monster and then it like moves back down. I loved that. I replayed it like 3 times. I thought that was amazing. And I laughed out loud when we then see her and then we get the third title card, Monstro Eliza Sue. I was laughing so hard. I was like, you got me again. I'm back in. It does look exactly like Society, that movie. I'm just dying laughing now. Monstro's putting the dress on. It's got these like kind of ears. It sticks the earrings in there. Like Demi Moore's face is just like open mouth, silent screaming on the back, but it's covered up with the dress. Amazing. I'm so fully in now. Like, you've gotten me back. Here's another star. But wait, this is like, there will be stars to lose. So then she cuts out a picture of Elizabeth's, face plasters it onto her wherever the head is, puts lipstick on it, and walks back. I'm loving it. I'm so happy.
Was it Elizabeth's face or Susan? Mm-hmm. Elizabeth's? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And, she's kind of like seeing things because, when she goes back to the station, she imagines a hallway full of people being like, yay, like, we love you. We were so happy to see you. But then it cuts and it's an empty hallway. Monstral waddles. Now, what kind of New Year's show is this? Because there's topless women everywhere. Because I thought this was going to be like the ball drop kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what this event is. Is it televised? I don't know. But there's, topless women everywhere and kind of Las Vegas-y outfits. And Monstro somehow waddles its way, to the front, and lights come on and the spotlight is on it and the paper falls away and a breast just slowly falls out one of the orifices on her face, and then women start screaming. It's so over the top. They're like, monster, freak, shoot it. I'm still in. And there's one arm that's just kind of awkwardly in the back. It gets knocked off and just blood. A head grows in its place. No, her head gets knocked off. Another head grows in. Her arm's knocked off. That sprays blood everywhere. Now, had this been the length it should have been, I would have been like, you know what? It had some issues, but all in all, it was a great movie. No. Because remember what I said at the beginning, WoHos, brevity is the soul of wit. The jokes, it's not funny anymore because this scene goes on for so fucking long.
Yes.
Blood cannon. That's funny. It's not funny when I'm checking my watch and I'm like, and there's 20 more minutes. What are we doing? I was upset. I'm still upset because you had something good. That was a great ending. It was camp. It was funny. It was amazing. And then you had to make it go on for 1 year. I spent a year watching that scene. I'm still watching it today. Kill your darlings. What's her name? Coralie. Kill your darlings. She couldn't do it. She couldn't.
No.
So we have a 1 hour long scene of blood spraying everybody. Which, again, it would have been funny had it been not an hour long. It upset me because I thought that was very funny. And I literally said out loud to Alan, it's not funny anymore. She escapes. She's disintegrating. Now she's like a blob just with Elizabeth's face. Mm-hmm. She inches her way. It's very painful. Now she's on top of her star. She imagines we just get the same cut of the hallway. You're beautiful. You're irreplaceable. She's smiling. And I do like the scene where she looks up and we see the palm trees and the stars.
Yes.
That's very beautiful. She is a star. She is Elizabeth Sparkle, the worst name on the planet. And then she melts like a jellyfish into a puddle of blood, which is then washed away by a street cleaner the next morning. And then we see the title card. The substance. What did you think about the ending scene?
Well, I saw this in the theater with my boyfriend who hated it. And I said, I only think people who like horror films should have seen this film. Because I was like, yes. Spot the horror film. And I thought this was very similar to Brain Dead. Mm-hmm. The end of that film. Although, as you were just talking, I wrote down Carrie because that's not blood, but that could be an homage to Carrie. Yeah, he was like, what was the point of that? And like I said, I think a lot of this film is just about showing you what we can do instead of telling you a story.
Yes.
There really isn't much to the story. It's just, how is the story told? And so like the extreme close-ups with Dennis Quaid and all these homages to all these horror films and all the practical effects and all that stuff. I think that's the point of the film. But if you were, for a film that's called The Substance, there really isn't much.
No. And if you say there is, you are adding more than what was in there. You are doing it some favors it doesn't need to be done. And I was ranting to Alan afterwards. I was like, now listen, it won awards. I must be in the minority, okay? They must have done something right because everybody loves this movie. But I would always posit that most movies should be so much shorter than they are. And if they're going to be longer, give me a good reason. I think they had so much fun making this movie, they couldn't see that it was too long.
Yeah.
Bummed me out.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the trivia?
Sure. When we get to it, I just wanted to show you the Vanity Fair cover. That was one of the ways that I know Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Demi Moore wasn't Coralie Fargé's first pick. During a meeting in Paris, Moore gave Fargé a copy of her 2019 memoir, which then convinced Fargé to cast her due to its depiction of her relationship to her body during the early and peak years of her film career. And then I included the 1991 Vanity Fair cover. WoHos, you can look it up yourself. But I was there when this hit the stands, and let me tell you, it was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So see like a nude pregnant woman.
Yeah. So she's obviously, I didn't read the memoir, so I'm not sure what she has to say about her relationship to her body, but that's part of the story that she posed for that cover. Cinematographer Benjamin Krakun initially considered using a safety wire to drop a camera past a series of lights for the infinity tunnel sequence. Ultimately, he devised a simpler solution: 2 horizontal bicycle tires surrounded by LED tube lights spinning together at the same speed around a stationary camera to create an infinity tunnel effect. He decided to film the fire in the shape of a dragon on the studio floor practically, capturing it from above. The footage was then blended into the scene where Sue is seen by the window. Despite his name being on the film's poster, Dennis Quaid only gets about 8 minutes of screen time in the entire film. The back birth sequence took 15 days to film.
Wow.
Actress Margaret Qualley confirmed at the TIFF that she was inside the Monstro Elissasu prosthetic makeup at the end of the film. Articles later published would reveal it would take between 5 to 6 hours to put her in a full bodysuit. According to Qualley, despite the process being torture, she enjoyed getting to act out the sequences. All the body parts that fall off Sue are the same as the body parts that fall off Seth Brundle in The Fly: tooth, fingernail, and ear. During the climax where Monstro Elisasu's hand snaps off and she sprays blood all over the New Year's Eve show audience and studio, director Coralie Fargé herself operated the hose off camera. According to Fargé, over 36,000 gallons of movie blood were used for that sequence alone.
That's why it's so long. She's like, I spent so long with that hose, I'm not cutting any of that shit out. Well, briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Well, Forever Angel 00 gave it 5 stars. I have so much to say. Brilliant. And I might say best film of this decade. I can't stress this enough, but the practical effects are just beyond astounding. They used hyper-realistic body horror that was so gross you couldn't keep your eyes off of it. Please watch the behind-the-scenes making of video online. It'll make you appreciate it so much more. And I do think that's true. I do think I could see how much of a labor of love it was, and that made me dislike it a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
Hippo Worder gave it 5 stars. The score, amazing. The acting, incredible. The directing, phenomenal. This is the best film I have ever seen. Just the scene where Elizabeth didn't go on her date almost brought me to tears the first time I watched it. The same happened on this rewatch. I'm interested how many horror movies. Like I get also your point that like if you like horror movies, it will make more sense. And I do think that's true, especially the ending of the movie. But I feel like a lot of people who don't watch as many horror films were the people that told me more about this movie than like any other group of people, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Linny gave it 5 stars. I have never felt this sick watching a movie. And I've watched all Human Centipede movies. That's crazy because Human Centipede 2, masterpiece that it is very gross. Horrific and gut-wrenching, but a masterpiece nonetheless. Important message, great acting, and never a boring second.
Oh.
Wow. Well, usually I say I wish I felt that way. I don't. I think I'm right. Just kidding. Linny, I'm happy for you. Well, here's the other side of the spectrum. My kind of people. Rachel Hobson gave this a 0.5 star. Like, absolutely horrible. What the fuck? Why is this rated so high? Sorry, Fred, it wasn't you. Joe, ? Gave it a 0.5 star. No thanks. Watched on a plane, and the people around me were giving me bad looks. That's fair. Don't watch this in public. Don't subject others to it. Mimi15MP gave it a 0.5 star. Hoodievel. How about we rate it in vials?
Okay.
You go first.
That's hard to rate. Because I think there's like a lot that's really wrong with it. Like you said.
Yeah.
Like we get it. We get the message. And I don't really think there's anything new being said. And that's like, maybe this is news to some people, like you said, that men tell women to smile. But I mean, if you've lived as a female person, it's not news. So there's so many things that are wrong with it, but the practical effects are so cool that it's really hard to rate it. So I think I would give it 4.
I respect your 4. I'm not going to say you're wrong. You're my mom and I love you. And I agree with what you said. I do think I would honestly say I would rather there be 1 million movies like this than a million CGI movies any day of the week.
Right.
And my reaction is due to my high expectations, which is not necessarily fair to this movie, because maybe if this was something that was hated by everybody, it would balance out my opinion. So 3.5.
Ooh.
Respect, like, because I did watch the making of, and I thought, what a labor of love. And I feel for the director and the writer, because she said it came from a very personal place, and she's not wrong. Like, I get it. And it feels personal. And I'm glad that a movie written and directed by a woman that speaks on women's issues is so praised.
Yes.
But I don't have to like it.
No, you don't.
So a respectable 3.5 files for the practical effects and the few scenes and themes that I thought were good. Everything else for the rage that it made me feel. one more thing I'll say is that I want to say this in the right way. Rich white women have problems too. I'm not saying they don't. But the whole movie is very like playing the biggest violin for a very privileged group of people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't even believe there are any characters that are people of color, and not any major ones. I mean, there's very few characters in the movie at all. So I'm not saying that automatically makes you a bad movie or anything. It's just, I think there is a lot you can say about even then the dichotomy between being a woman who would be in the place of Elizabeth Sparkle and all of the women and people that will never even be anywhere close to that ever.
Right.
And her losing her luster still doesn't even come close to the everyday reality of most people, and that white supremacy upholds white women and, you know, subjugates women of color to uphold white women. And this feels a very like white feminism movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Amen to that, brother. You're not my brother, but that sounded weird as soon as I said it.
All so right. Maybe that is also a part of how I feel. Anyways.
Yeah, I totally get that. So we're going to skip the questions for this one. And so that just leaves me to say, well, thank you, Mac, for having this conversation with me about Grafted and the substance.
Thank you.
Now, we don't have a movie lined up for our next time. I wanted to ask you if you wanted to watch Frankenstein.
Yes.
The Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. And I'm sure I can find, an international Frankenstein film. If nothing else, I can do a Hammer horror. Okay.
Nice.
And thank you, WoHos, for joining us and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us truly. We appreciate you downloading the show and telling all your friends all about us. Next time, we will be looking at Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein and some international version of Frankenstein. Remember, WoHos, we love you and don't go into the basement.
Yay!